We're good, I'm on the line.
Mr. Holland?
Yes.
Okay, we have you on speaker, so we're gonna go ahead and go on the record.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Before we call the meeting to order, let me say that Mr. Holland, Member Holland, is appearing telephonically today, consistent with the Open Meetings Act, that's permitted. If at any time, he will be the only person speaking on the telephone, but if at any time someone feels they don't know who the speaker is,
here's the man.
Reiterate that. So with that,
over here next to you.
I will call to order the meeting of the City of Albuquerque Personnel Board for Wednesday, June 10th, 2015. Next item on the agenda is PB-11-23, Robert Wooliver, termination, City of Albuquerque Police Department, recommendation of the hearing officer, Pat Bingham, final action following continued deliberation in closed session. So we're not going to hear further from the parties on this one today. The members want to continue to deliberate in closed session, and we will take an action at the end of closed session. So the chair will now move that we go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And the media people need to be careful to take all of their audio devices and all right, the chair moves that we return to open session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are in open session. The next case is PB-11-23, Robert Wooliver.
Excuse me,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on the record that I viewed the tape that was emailed to me, the recording,
All right.
and I viewed it just a moment ago.
Okay. So we're at PB-11-23, Robert Wooliver, termination, City of Albuquerque Police Department, recommendation of the hearing officer, Pat Bingham, final action following continued deliberation in closed session. Is there a motion?
I move to uphold the hearing officer's recommendation to sustain the termination.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Holland? Mr. Holland?
Yes, I voted yes.
I didn't hear you. I vote no. So the decision of the hearing officer is upheld by a vote of 2 for, 1 against. And I want to very briefly explain my vote. You know, we've all reviewed the record in this case very carefully. I do not want to be taken as endorsing the kind of behavior by a police officer that is revealed in this record. My vote reflects my feeling that well, I have spent a lot of time reading the United States Justice Department's report to the mayor following its investigation. That report, most of you are very familiar with it. And given my almost 40 years of practice of employment law, I am always reluctant to go straight to the employees who apparently, no matter how egregious their behavior may be, have acted in accordance with a culture that was apparently broadly accepted in the department, and which the administration has now committed itself to correcting. I don't condone excessive force. I don't condone the behavior in this particular case. But I would have voted for some sort of corrective action in this case rather than termination. So with that, we are on public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is John Doyle.
John Doyle.
I was the officer involved in that video. I'd like to say, I'd like to thank you for your time and for reviewing the case. At that time, I had about 20 years in law enforcement. I was taught that, deadly force is the last thing you want to use out there on the streets if there's other means. I know you said you reviewed the case, and there was reasons why that happened the way it did, and I explained that. This was a second suspect outside. I had a friend that was murdered by a second suspect when they went to the ground with that suspect. I didn't learn that from video. I learned that from my experience on the street. That night, Officer Wolver did not know who that guy was when he tackled him, but he did yell to me that he was reaching for a weapon. Officer Wolver is one of the most honorable individuals that I worked with in all my years in both departments. We worked good together, and I trusted him as a cop. In all my years, I've never had to shoot anyone. I've never had to tase anyone. I was able to avert numerous deadly force encounters by using physical force instead, according to my training. Sometimes it doesn't look good. Sometimes it looks horrible. It looks more so horrible when you have to use physical force in order to keep from taking someone's life, which is what happened that night. During this investigation, a lot of things went sideways. More evidence is still coming out every day. We're in contact with people that are providing us with things. My partner was threatened. He was threatened to change his story. He was told to change his story by people indirectly involved in the investigation. I had gone to the DOJ in reference to this as soon as the DOJ came into town, and I sat down with them for almost 3 hours. And I told them what had happened and what was transpiring. The internal affairs investigator during this case testified at my unemployment hearing. And that hearing, I believe it was Judge Romero, upheld the fact that we didn't do anything wrong. During that hearing, the internal affairs investigator was unfamiliar with his material and did not know the use of force directive, SOP, on use of non-deadly force, where it states officers may use any means necessary within reason to gain the upper hand in a violent physical confrontation. During that confrontation, Officer Wolver yelled to me that he was reaching for a weapon. I knew Nicholas Bloom he wanted for murder. When this was put out into the media, it was put out as he was just a suspected car thief. I've been fighting this for 4 years. Myself and Officer Wolver have been standing this up for 4 years. We did everything we could that night. Sometimes it doesn't look good, but when you look at what it is for what it is, we didn't have to shoot Nicholas Bloom that night, and we kept him from getting into a hotel full of people. We did the best we could. During the investigation, a lot was withheld. The people who testified at my board hearing changed their testimony at my LEA board hearing in support of us. We have the documents to prove it. The IA investigator changed his testimony and did a 180 in his testimony. He called my lawyer after the unemployment board hearing, and he stated that he was sorry for what had happened. He was only doing what he was told. That phone call was made to my attorney, John D'Amato. The feds have that information. He also, numerous times, had contacted my attorney. My attorney was being contacted by people outside this investigation, warning me that I should take the fifth, warning me that I shouldn't tell my side of the story, warning Officer Wolver that if he didn't change his story, that he would be prosecuted with me. They were telling him that, if he stuck to what he had said in his report, we wrote a report based on recollection. Based on my recollection to the video, I was told that, because it had jived with what had happened, that there must be something up with this. It seemed too honest at times, and Ray Schultz had made statements that, how could we have believed this guy was armed if I didn't pull my gun out? when you're fighting and it goes physical, it's already physical. It's already hands-on. And the problem with law enforcement these days, where people are getting shot, officers are backing off, creating a distance, and having to resort to use deadly force because it's being precipitated. When you go hands-on, you make a quick, decisive decision, and it's already physical. Sometimes it doesn't look good. That's what has to be done. I would like to request, there's already a federal investigation in the way this was handled. I would like to request that if you have any issues, you forward this to the proper individuals to further look into the way this was handled. When I was in my appeals at the LEA board, I'm sorry, for my termination, appealing it, Ms. Levy had approached my attorney and stated to my attorney they'd like to offer me resignation. I could have taken resignation, I didn't, because I knew what had gone on here. I knew the way this investigation was handled was a deviation from the way investigations are usually handled. It was not objective. I'm not saying this out of sour grapes. There's fact that I can back this with. I provided individuals with the facts. My attorney has worked hard and has case files of facts that can back what I'm saying up here today. Miss Kennedy had taken on my appeal. She has case files full of facts. I just don't know what to say. I am disappointed with the decision. Like I said, I'm here to support the man who stood behind me and beside me that day, and who would have died with me had it happened. We had gone to, it had gone to a violent confrontation. Officer Wilbur did not deserve what had happened to him. He did not deserve to go through what he went through. He brought his family here, and he wanted to make a life here, and that was taken away from him. It was taken away from him through lies and deception, and through misrepresentation. I'm not going to say it was flat out lies. People were lied to during this investigation, and we had proof of it. Evidence was concealed. I didn't remember who had showed me a photograph of this in the very beginning, and I had told Chief Schultz at the time at my Louder Mill that I had seen a photograph, that I was briefed, and that I knew who Bloom was, and who had showed me the photograph. That was never passed on. When you do an investigation, I was taught, when you put an investigation together, you put all the facts in that investigation. You put the facts, whether they're good or bad in that case, out of fairness. It's what our job is. What our job is as officers is to be fair. You put the facts, you lay them on the table, all the facts. You don't hide things, and you don't misrepresent and lie in order to direct an investigation with a preconceived outcome to that destination. Sir, I don't know what to say when you face this much at this level, but I've been here for 4 years fighting this. I think the fight and the evidence that we have had this case be reopened would be overwhelming at the misconduct that was carried out during this case and during the investigation.
Well, based on what you said, I assume you'll press on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for your time.